Welcome everyone to the first public meeting for the Region of Waterloo's Wellesley Water and Wastewater Master Plan. My name is Karu and I'm the region's project manager for this plan, and I will also be the main speaker for tonight. With me to help answer questions is Tom Mahood from Jacobs Canada, who is assisting with Region to undertake this master plan. And you've met Kylie, who's going to be assisting in the background with this webinar. First off, I'd like to start tonight with our Indigenous greeting. Today, we gather on a traditional territory of the Haudenosaunee, Anishinaabe, and the Neutral Peoples. We recognize our responsibility to serve as stewards to the land and honor the original caretakers that came before us. Next slide, please. The purpose of today's meeting is to introduce you to the project, the process that we're going to take, the opportunities for public participation, and what the end plan could include. Next slide, please. The objective of this project is to develop a long-term plan for the water and wastewater infrastructure in the village of Wellesley. To meet these objectives, we will review population forecasts, look at the condition of our existing water and wastewater treatment assets, such as treatment plants and pipe networks, and we'll review opportunities for water supply and wastewater servicing in the village of Wellesley. Next slide, please. So the preliminary study area that we're going to consider includes the village of Wellesley and surrounding future growth areas indicated by the dotted line in this map. The final study area may be modified based on recent amendments to the region's official plan, and updates will be reflected in future master plan communications. But generally, land use within the area is primarily classified as urban residential with scattered institutional and industrial land use. The location of our water and wastewater treatment facilities is shown here by the two red circles, and I'll talk about them in a future slide. Next slide, please. In terms of the process, this study is being carried out by as a master plan in accordance with the Municipal Engineer Association's municipal class environmental assessment process. Under this process, the study will follow an approach where we will define projects up to Schedule B Class CA level. What you see here is the flow of the process, and the stars indicate points in the process where public is invited to provide feedback. In phase one, the region and Jacobs has already started to look at the existing conditions and the issues that we're trying to solve and the opportunities that may be available. We're connecting with the public like we are here today to be inclusive of all perspectives. We have technical experts on the project team with years of experience in developing these types of plans and understanding what works and what may not work. But we also want to hear from you and your lived experiences, and that's why we're here today, as indicated by the first star. Moving forward into phase two, we'll start finding solutions to the problems and explore opportunities. We'll bring those back to you at the second public meeting as indicated by the second star. We'll do a preliminary evaluation of those alternative solutions and before making a recommendation. Once again, we'll come back to you with our preferred alternative as indicated by the third star. And this is really a check with everyone to ensure that we've captured everything that we've heard from you and review why some of the things did or didn't work. In the final phase, we'll prepare the final master plan report. It will be presented to council, and it will also be available for public review as indicated by the 4-star. So this is the process that we will follow. Now let me take you through some of the existing conditions and the issues that we will be examining. Next slide, please. Based on census data and help from the region's planning division, the current population of the village of Wellesley is approximately 3,400 people. Over the next 30 years, the population of the village of Wellesley is expected to increase by about 40%, as shown by this chart. Similar to the discussion about the study area earlier, the region and the township, our staff are reviewing the recent amendments to the official plan to identify if there will be any impacts to future community growth. Again, we'll report back to you on what we find in the next public consultation. But when it comes to water and wastewater, it is critical that the associated infrastructure meet both the current and anticipated future needs. So, what are some of the considerations that we need to take into account when we're looking at our water and wastewater infrastructure? This master plan is an opportunity to think about what we need to do to strengthen their reliability and resiliency into the future. Next slide, please. So let's take a look at some of those assets that exist in the village. The Wellesley Water Treatment Plant is near the corner of Gerber Road and David Street, tucked tightly behind that church, as you can see in this picture. It was built in 1993 and it's supplied by three nearby wells. For those that drive by it, they know that currently we're upgrading the facility by modernizing some of the equipment, replacing old parts, and creating some efficiencies in the water treatment process. However, we are not expanding the capacity of the water system right now. But in terms of the master plan, some of the considerations that we are thinking about include, is there sufficient capacity at the facility for the identified growth? Will treatment requirements change in the future that may require additional processes and then additional buildings? And what is the impact of climate change? We all know it's important and it's a very serious consideration. How does that affect our ability to supply water? One of the things we would like to hear from you is whether you have any other considerations, for example, comments about the building itself. If you do, please use the feedback survey from the project's Engage website. I'll provide more details on that at the end of this webinar. Next slide, please. Next, let's talk about water distribution. And when I talk about water distribution in this area, what I mean is how water moves from our water treatment plant around the village to the property line. And I'll note that from the property line to your tap, it's the responsibility of the property owner. So once water is treated, it's stored in the wells at the Wellesley Water Treatment Plant in three reservoirs, which are next to the plant. Storage is an important part of the distribution system as it can help supply water during periods of high demand. So one question we'll be tackling is, do we have enough storage? Will we require additional water storage infrastructure, say such as a water tower, to meet the future demands? Then there are 5 pumps that help sustain adequate pressure in the village. Are these sufficient to meet the village demands or do we need more pumps? We will examine if the storage and pipes have sufficient capacity for the identified growth, and if not, provide some solutions at the next public consultation. Again, if you have any other considerations that you want us to think about, please let us know. Next slide. Next, let's turn to wastewater. The original Wellesley wastewater treatment plant, which lies off Gerber Road to the south, was constructed in 1973, and it was expanded once in 1993 to what is there today. The collected wastewater from all the homes from the village is treated here and returned to the Nith River. The picture you see is one of our package aeration systems on the plant. The Wellesley wastewater treatment plant has been fully compliant with the ministry's regulations, but has experienced operational challenges in the past, like experiencing some flow bottlenecks. So again, for the master plan, what considerations do we anticipate? Well, we want to know whether there's sufficient capacity for the identified growth. Certainly treatment requirements may change in the future, and how do we do that? And then again, what's the impact of climate change? These are all considerations, rather technical, but Tom's team will be looking at these things. But let us know if you have any other considerations that we also need to take into account. Next slide, please. Finally, let's look at the fourth component, which is the wastewater collection system. This is the network of pipes that takes the community sewage to our wastewater treatment plant. What you see here on the map is our network of wastewater pipes that run under the roads of the village. We do experience relatively high inflow and infiltration within the Wellesley wastewater collection system. These create bottlenecks within the pipe, but also has an impact on the plant's ability to treat the wastewater. So that would be a big consideration as we move forward. Also, again, capacity-wise, we will want to make sure that we have sufficient capacity for the identified growth. And if there are other climate change considerations, we want to take a look at that as well. Next slide, please. Okay. So we want to hear your preliminary thoughts. We want you to use the Engage Waterloo Region website to submit your comments by May 18th. Looking to the future of the master plan, our second virtual public meeting to present the alternative solutions will be roughly in the fall of this year. The third public meeting to present the preferred alternatives will be, we estimate, in the spring of 2024. And then we will proceed to present the final report to Regional Council and also put the final report on public review at around the same time. So these are our next steps in terms of timelines. Next step, please. And then for my final slide here, as I mentioned, we have a survey to hear your input. You can access the survey and provide comments on the presentation or anything related to the content at engagewr/Wellesley or engagewr/WELLESLEYWATER. It's the same page that you used to register for this webinar. The survey will be open, as I mentioned, until May 18th, and we'll take your feedback into account, have Tom's team and our team take it into consideration to formulate the master plan. In the future, we'll be posting project updates, and you can see them at our project website at regionalwaterloo.ca/Wellesley-Water. And if you want to talk to Tom or I directly after this webinar, our contacts are shown here. You can contact us directly. So this concludes my presentation of today's meeting.